Say for section 1.3, this is the back of the worksheet. We're going to look at numbers 19 through 22. I think we'll start with number 21 first. It says find the length of the segment, then find the coordinate of the midpoint of the segment. So we're doing both concepts from this section. We're finding its length and we're locating a point that's directly in the middle. Okay, so the length of the segment, that's a numerical value that'll tell you how long it is. We're going from -2 to +2, so if you want to, you can just count. It's 4 units. E to F is 4 units. That's how you write your answer. This is the length of segment EF. Now, if you wanted to do this a different way, you could have taken 2 and subtracted the other coordinate, -2, 2 minus -2. That's like 2 plus 2, which is 4. Same thing. So that's the math side of it. You want the coordinate of the midpoint now. So we know the coordinate of this endpoint is -2, and the coordinate of this endpoint is +2. What's the coordinate of the midpoint? What's the point that's directly in the middle? 0. And if you want to just write your answer down like this, that's fine. The midpoint lives at 0. I think that's a pretty easy one. I think you know 0 lives directly in between -2 and 2. If you didn't, and you want like a mathematical reason why that is what it is, remember, finding a midpoint is like averaging. 2 plus -2 is 0. And 0 divided by 2 is 0. So we're going to do this one as well. Let's find the length. G to H. We're going from -6 to +4. That's 10. Because 6 units is 0, 4 units to the 4. That's 10 units. You can count it if you want. Or you could subtract 4 minus -6. Remember, your lengths are always going to be positive. Okay? So it's impossible to get a negative answer here. Coordinates can be negative, but your lengths must be positive. Where's the midpoint? A little bit tougher to figure this one out. Let's average -6 and 4. And then divide that by 2. -6 plus 4 is -2, and -2 divided by 2 is -1. So you can mark that on your number line. That's where your midpoint M lives. It's really that easy. Now, it gets more difficult when you're not on a number line. That's one-dimensional. Up here we have a two-dimensional coordinate plane. They just ask you for the length of the segment, round to the nearest tenth of a unit. I think just to be on the same page, this is what I tell everybody in class, we're going to round to the nearest hundredth. Hundredth is 2 decimal places. So you're going to write your answer like as if it was in money, like $2.57, 2.57. That's how you round to the nearest hundredth. How do you find the length of a segment? Well, you can't count if it's diagonal. So we have a formula. And it looks like this. Big square root. And what we're going to do in here is put some values in there. Okay? So here we're going to subtract our x values, and here we're going to subtract our y values. And then we're going to do all these operations. We're going to square these, add them, and take the square root. Sounds like a lot, but it's not. It's not that tough. Maybe we'll do this one by hand, and then I'll show you how to type this one in the calculator. Okay, so your x values, if you look up here, your x values all underline. We have a +6 and a +2. We need to subtract those. 6 minus 2. Now what I did was I took the 6, this x value, from this point B. That means the first y value that I put down, it better be from that same ordered pair B. I'll circle it this time. 6. What's the other y value? 1. Again, I'm just going to do this in my head step by step so you can see it's not a complicated process. 6 minus 2 is 4. I need to square that. 6 minus 1 is 5. I need to square that. And take the square root of all of it. I think you know 4 squared is 16 and 5 squared is 25. Now, when you add 16 and 25, you end up with 41. So your answer is the square root of 41. And you might not know what that is, but you could think about it. 41 is bigger than 36. And the reason I say 36 is the square root of 36 is 6. The square root of 49 is 7. So this is in between 6 and 7. Okay? So you could leave it like that. That's the answer. But again, notice how the directions ask for nearest hundredth. So I'm just going to type this in. Okay? And if you're not familiar how to do that, you're going to hit this second button. That's your blue button. And then hit the x squared button. I think it's the 5th button down on the left. That gives you your radical. What is the square root of 41? We know it's in between 6 and 7. You want 2 digits. So right now the 2 digits are 4, 0. Are you going to keep the 40 or are you going to make it 41? Okay, look at the third digit. See how it's not 5 or bigger? That's why you keep it as 40. 6.40 or 6.40. That'll be our rounded distance. Now we're going to do the same thing for number 20. Again, it's a diagonal. I'm just going to type this one straight into the calculator so you can see that it's really easy as long as you know how to do that. Okay, so this was distance from B to A over here on this one. Over here we're finding distance from C to D, and here's how that looks. Big radical with some stuff. Let's put our x's in here, and it doesn't matter which way you put them in first. Here's an x, here's an x. I think I chose this x first up here, so maybe I'll do this one first down here. It's not going to make a difference in your answer. 4 minus, watch yourself, negative 3. 4 minus negative 3. Now, here's where it would make a difference in your answer. If you picked your x value from point D and put that first, you better pick your y value from point D and put it first. So you got to put this negative 3, this guy here, and then your other y value is positive 2. Okay, now all of that will give you your answer, and if you want to work it out by hand here, you can. But I'm going to type it in for you. Maybe that light is creating an issue. Yeah, there we go. That looks better. So we're going to get our radical. You can't see that. All right, lights back on. Radical, and then we're going to do 4 minus negative 3 in parentheses. Square it. Okay, so I hit those buttons kind of fast. Hopefully you know where they are. Obviously that's your minus sign. That's a negative. That's how you square this button here. Okay. Plus, we need negative 3 minus 2. And square that. It has to give you a positive answer. Remember, it's a segment length. Right now our 2 digits are 60. 60. Are you going to keep it or make it 61? Those are your choices. Okay, we're going to keep it as 60 because that third digit was not 5 or bigger.